out of that, that's been their focus. So whether they have other talents or not, they'll never be able to find out. And give or take, their life might have been good and well up until the end. So sometimes other times you might have to now depend on your talent to make a living. Other times, your talent might be that which you need to survive. It will be what you need to survive in life. What are the key elements in discovering your talents? And I'm going to say a lot of things here. Some of them are also very personal. I will use my personal journey in life in some of the examples I'll be giving. I'll refer to a lot of people whom I've read about, some I've met, some I have never met in my life. Where the only places I've seen them are online, or I've read about them either in their memoirs or in their autobiographies, but have never met them physically, but have had great impact in my life and in what I've become today. As you go along on this journey in searching for your talent, in seeking that purpose in life, I want you to note two words or two alphabets, N-O. N-O. A lot of times when put together, it connotes negativity. When people see or hear N-O, which is no, which no or yes, so it's that no I'm talking about. You hear no, you go seek for a job, you get turned down, your application isn't taken, you go pitch for a contract and you hear no, you apply for a course and you're turned down, your application wasn't successful, and you're turned down and you're not among those who are chosen to be participants in that particular course. That particular phrase, that sentence, that word no can make or mar, depending on where and how you see it. And I want us all to take particular note of these, of what I'm saying at this point. In your course of growing in life, in trying to get a job, in trying to seek success, you will come across a lot of people who will turn you down. You might at the time not be their cup of tea. They might not be what they want at the time. They just might not like you. They might not like your presence. They might feel you're too much. They might feel they might not be able to place you in a particular box because you're already thinking out of that box. And so it does not necessarily mean that it is your fault. And so from here on, if you've heard no before, if no had been somewhat of a constant for you, I want you to have a mind shift to that word no. You would hear no for a very long time, for many places, for many times in the course of your life. So a mental shift to that word is very important at this point. For me, I take no as never over. It is never over. And that has been the way I have lived and have stayed on course as I've gone along. So you tell me no. It doesn't mean that I'm not good enough. It does not mean that I'm not qualified. It doesn't mean that at that point I do not have all it takes. It just means it isn't my time. It just means I'm not the one you want at the point. A mental shift of that word is important as we move ahead in life. And so I'm going to go into the lecture proper. You must know who you are to start with in this journey. It is important you know who you are. And for a lot of people, even knowing who you are is such a chore, it's such a task. You need to understand your likes. You need to understand your spirit. You need to understand your space. And you need to understand what makes you tick. You need to understand what sets you off. You need to understand at what point you're the calmest. And you need to understand at what point you're most anxious and most aggravated. It takes time and it takes a lot of efforts to understand and know who you are. Until you are deliberate, until you are conscious of every action you take, you might not be able to. Half of the problems we have now in the world is because a lot of people are not deliberate in their actions. It's because we do not take a step back to think and think through what we do before we take actions. A lot of times we get carried away by peer pressure. A lot of times we just go on with the crowd. If you can't beat them, you join them. A lot of us are afraid to stand alone. A lot of us are afraid to stand apart. In unleashing, in unfolding, in on discovering your talent, you need to understand who you are. And until you're able to understand who you are, a lot of times, a lot of the questions, answers we seek to our questions, we might not get it. A lot of times, all of the things we're asking for from the Almighty, we might not get it because we're not aligning our spirit with what exactly is out there for us. I would try not to go spiritual. I would try my very best. So first of all, know who you are. Have a mind shift of certain negative words that might be thrown at you while on the path, in the course of your journey. It is important that you think through what you do and you are very deliberate in your actions, in your choice of words, in your associates. This is key. The people you surround yourself with, the people you surround yourself with is also very important. Until you're able to understand yourself, I say again, until you're able to understand yourself, you would not know if A is good for you, or B is bad for you. So you could have a group of friends, say 5 of them, and they all have different characters, different attitudes and attributes. Until you're able to know at what point they are good for you would not be able to understand how much success or how much failure you're going to have. I'm going to say something about failure. A lot of us see failure as a bad thing. It is not. Again, it is a mind shift we need to have. Failure is part of your journey to success. It isn't the opposite of success. It is not. You will fall 7 times. 7 times you will rise. That is what the Holy Book say. That is how much fight you need to put into it. Success, it's not served on a platter of gold. People work for it. Our moderator earlier on played a video, and there was Steve Jobs. He quoted during the introduction. If we all know how Apple came to be, what the journey, Steve Jobs' journey was until he sadly passed. He passed at the peak of his career. He passed. That is also part of the journey. We all need to be prepared for every eventuality that come our way. Let's get on to another point. Another important point we also need to understand is we need to understand where we're coming from. What is your background? There is a saying, when I was growing up in Abeokuta, would usually hear it in school, at home, everyone would say it. It's a phrase I still repeat on a daily basis. Rántí ọmọ ẹni tí ìwọ ń ṣe. It is a saying that we heard it for so long, but we did not understand until we got to situations where we had to make that choice. between right and wrong. It's at that point you start to ask yourself exactly what is my history? This thing I'm going to do, this thing I want to start, is it in line with my history? Is it in line with my lineage? Is it in line with the examples that has been set either in my family or those who have mentored me or those who I'm following in their leadership? Where are you coming from? For every stage you get to, never lose sight of where you're coming from. If you've gotten to a stage where you're even now the CEO of your company, you must never forget where you're coming from. You must never forget your roots. If you were born with a silver spoon, bravo to you. If you were not, never forget where you're coming from. It is a point you get to that takes you back to reality. It helps to adjust you. If you can constantly remember where you're coming from, it will help you along as you're making your decisions. So personally, I would remain friends with people I've been I grew up with, people whom I went to primary school with, one or two, people I went to secondary school with, one or two. Because at the bottom of it all, those are the people who truly know you, who truly understand where you're coming from. And those are the ones who can quickly bring you back to reality when you're probably going off course, if they are the right people in your life. Choose wisely. So after you've discovered where you understand where you're coming from, you must also understand and start to map out where you're going. In mapping out where you're going, sometimes you might not be able to do it alone. You might need help. A lot of times, you most definitely will need help. And in you needing help, who are those you reach out to? This is where mentorship come in. This is where training come in. And this is where developing self-development come in. The most important thing you can do for yourself is to invest in yourself. Invest in your knowledge, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Invest in your health. You need to take care of yourself, body, and soul. Investing in yourself. If you have to upskill, and when I say upskill, there are some of us who probably would be graduates, first degree. If master's is out of the way at the moment, maybe you cannot afford it. Getting certain certifications might be needed or might be important for the path you might be seeking. Are you ready to spend more money on yourself? A lot of times it is non-negotiable. You have to get a skill in addition to what you have. It is important. And so you need to constantly ask yourself, this place I'm going, what do I need to get there? What do I, how do I need to equip myself? How do I need to compose myself to achieve this success I'm trying to get, I'm pursuing? Clearly defined priority is important at this point. Every aspect of your life, you need to understand how you want to achieve and attain every part of your game plan. So investing in yourself, upscaling, get more certifications, get skills, even if they're not certifications, certified skills with certification, you can just get the training, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, to at least understand the journey you're on to. Either you want to just seek a trade, you're trying to get a job, you're trying to get into a profession, you're trying to start a business, until you're able to understand the business you're going into, which is part of the feasibility study you have to do anyway. You might not be able to start, not to talk of completing the journey. So upscaling and upskilling yourself, it's important. Another important part is getting trained. You need the training to move up in life. Sometimes training might not be, as I said, might not be a paper qualification. You might have to present it at some point, but for you to at least be able to stand at the point of being interviewed and sell yourself, until you get training along that path, you might not be able to. Invest in books. Important. Read, read, and read. It is important for us to keep reading. The reading culture in Nigeria these days, I don't know what happened. Somehow it's gone, but I know there are lots of people who are trying to bring it back on. But we need to read. Your reading will expand your knowledge, not only of words, but also of life. Read autobiographies, read memoirs, um, look for books that at least along the path you want to seek. If you're going into business, read books about business, read self-development book, read books that are filled with motivation. So at least you know that you're not the only one who's been on the path of success, who's constantly failing, or who's failed a couple of times, or who hasn't even had any ounce of success in what they're doing. So please get trained and invest in books.
Excuse me, just a minute, Mrs. Romelia. There is a saying amongst a lot of youths today, especially the fresh ones that want to go into entrepreneurship, and what they say is that I need money to start up a business. I don't have the capital. That is the norm we see. So what do you have for them? Because there are a lot of businesses that we have right now, but everybody keeps on saying, I need money, I need funds. Because I know you mentioned something related to that earlier in terms of upskilling yourself. And even if you invite them for programs and trainings a premium, they still say, I don't have enough money, I need funds. What do you have to tell those people?
All right. This is where I'll have to let them know that a lot of times money isn't the first thing you should get. And I'm saying this because not only am I a broadcaster, I've also run a business. A lot of times, the highest and the biggest currency that you need is your personality, it's your attitude, and your worldview. The second thing or third thing might be the money. And this is where your character, your strength of character is very important. What are you? Who are you? When people mention your name, what is the first thing that comes to mind? When your name is mentioned, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Are you thought of as a lazy person? Is the first thing that comes to mind, oh, he's a dubious person, or he's not honest, or you can never trust him, or he's not timely, or you just is like the weather. You are neither here nor there. This minute you're cloudy, the other minute you're sunny. So that becomes a baggage you carry. So if anybody wants to give you money and you're not honest, you think the person will give you money? Absolutely not. If anybody wants to give you money and they know that you will not even be at that business place as early as 7 a.m. in the morning. And let me tell you one thing, because you think going to work, 9 to 5 job is the most difficult thing. And this is where I tell people, for you to start your business, I think sometimes it's good for you to work, even if it's just to just to learn what it means to be on time. Because it is your business does not mean you have to get there 12 p.m. It does not mean you have to get there 2 p.m. Because it is your business, you must invest the time to get there as early as possible. So these are the character traits a lot of people will be looking for or looking out for in you to give you money. When you get to the bank to ask for money, they will ask for your books. They want to see how tidy you are. They want to see how organized you are. So finance isn't the first thing. It's not the biggest thing. If you are someone, sorry, please. If you're someone who can be trusted, if you're someone who everyone can vouch for, then the money will come. Then the money will come. So you need to build your strength of character. That is the first thing that needs to go into anything you're doing. Because you must remember, if your name is mentioned, what will be the first thing that will come to mind? So if you were to come to me and we've worked together, and I know that you were never at work, and I know when you were most needed, you were never there. And I know if we gave you a task, say, okay, the deadline is, today is Saturday, deadline is Friday next week. Until March, we probably wouldn't get it. So you now leave and you come to me and you say, oh, you're starting this business, you need money. I won't give you, I'm sorry. If I'm going to give you, I'll give you something I know I'm going to dash you and you'd never come back to me for money. So what am I saying? Your strength of character is very important because the first set of people you get money from are your family and friends when you want to start a business. Your family and friends, what can they say about you? Before you get to the banks don't give money without collateral. There's a reason for it. The banks would ask you, uh, the bank would ask you for your books. There's a reason for it. I hope I've answered that question.
Yes,
It
yes,
isn't money isn't the first thing. Money isn't.
yes. Um, Another thing that I've observed among some of these, especially the fresh graduates, because I keep on saying that it is not everybody that passes out through the higher institution that is going to get a day job, 8 to 5 job, because we
True.
have a lot of people
True.
that are definitely going to go into various ventures. So apart from the issue of money. Now, another issue that is salient and it's actually disturbing a lot of youths these days has to do with the get rich quick syndrome. Now, we have a lot of superstars that are very young and talented, both in Nigeria and also diaspora. And we have even engineers that have graduated that have very good grades from school. They go into entertainment, they go into music, and they are role models to thousands and millions of people. And you find out that people hardly want to venture into any business that has to do with your hand. Everybody wants to go. So what can you talk about that?
All right. So this is where I come. I'll say this. Um, Showbiz is showbiz. I'm in the I'm in the business. That's what it is. It's showbiz. It's all for show. And at this point, I'm going to make this very clear. And I'm going to use David. What's his surname again? Olaleke Adeleke, popularly known as Davido. Davido is not only a graduate. A lot of people will say he's from a rich family. But if we're to judge him on that alone, we would not be fair to Davido. Davido is one of the most hardworking young artists, Nigerian musician in the world. A lot of our young ones get carried away with the end result that they see on the screen. They do not see Davido at night. only his craft. They do not see him when he's battling with the lyrics to write, even though a lot of times now he gets lyrics thrown at him here and there. They do not see the work he has to do to at least to promote himself. They did not see him when he was even rising. All the hard work he needs to put into being who he is today. Everyone sees Davido as he is, and they want to be that Davido without understanding that there is a process. There is a process. Never ever forget the process. And that is where we're missing it in Nigeria, in everything we do, even in politics, in making money, which is what everyone wants to do now. There is always dignity in labor. And I use Davido not because he's the only one, but because, in my opinion, he is one of the most hardworking young men, good role model, at least with what he portrays in public. No one is perfect. We all have ups and downs. So I'm not here to judge anybody. But when you want to take Davido and you want to talk about his art, you want to talk about his craft, you must talk about his hard work. You must talk about his diligence. You must talk about his dedication to his craft, which a lot of people overlook when they're trying to summarize the man Davido. And that is where the problem is. There is a process. We're missing the process. Until I came on to hold this microphone today, there was a process. For everything you become in life, there must be a process. You can never cheat nature. You will never cheat nature. It might work for some people who will wake up, get rich quick syndrome, yes. But when they start to pay to that music they played for a long time, where will you be? Let's not ever forget the possible outcome of that get rich quick syndrome. We must keep that in mind every single time. So I say to them, do not look at the success. Go sit with Davido and ask him what it takes him to release only one single, only one. And he'll tell you the sleepless nights that goes with it, the lots of quarrels that goes on in the studio, and lots of quarrels that he has to have with his manager, with his studio manager, with his engineer. It's it is not fair that we only focus on what we see on the screen.
And I think what you just said is a very, very excellent point. Most people do not see what goes on in the background; they only see the end product. And I think we have some quite a number of entrepreneurs that are amongst us. We have Madam Ayanda. Just to cut it short, Madam Ayanda Moropani has joined us from Dubai. She was supposed to be here
Okay.
earlier, but she went for another meeting. So, Madam Ayanda, do you have a question or just to chip in something for our facilitator?
Thank you so much. And again, sincere apologies. Speaker Romelia, I'm really enjoyed what you've had to say. I was supposed to be your moderator the first time. Unfortunately, you had a personal situation. But this time around, there was a conflict with my diary, and I apologize for that. Really impressed with what you had to present. And the point that you just made about, hard work. And I think this generation undermines the amount of hard work is required to actually achieve a goal. And as someone in HR who is challenged now, so, I'm an HR strategist and I've been in HR for many years. One of the things I'm finding is that the way we manage performance or companies measure performance is now becoming harder for them to motivate people, to care about their careers, to care about the long term, as you rightly put, because everyone thinks there's something called overnight success. You, with your experience in and broadcasting, with your experience in meeting different people who've achieved success in life, what would you say, to young people, or young career-driven professionals? What would you say are the key things, behaviors that would actually help them to attain success in the long run?
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us. Yeah, I just thank you for all that you've said. And I'm glad at least you finally were able to join us. Um, as I said earlier, building your character is key. It's very important to build your character. And we take it so much for granted. And I feel so sorry for this generation, because at the end of the day, they will lose a lot more than they will gain in the end. And so I'm going to use, I don't know if we have other people here who are from outside Nigeria. Aliko Dangote is the richest Black man in Africa. Elon Musk is now the richest Black man in the world. These are Black men. I mean, if you can call Elon that, but at least we're claiming him. If you have to read their autobiographies, then you'd understand the one thing is very clear: character. What you are to A is what you must remain to be. And I understand a lot of people will tell you, treat people the way they want to treat you. In the world of business, on the ladder of success, you cannot do that. You have to maintain, you have to be consistent in your character. Because a lot of times, what you were to someone 10 years ago could have a big play in what you will become today. And if you're consistent with what you were 10 years ago, boom, that could be a game changer for you. Consistency in character is very key. Your character trait must be one that is honest, must be one that at least you can be reliable. You must be someone who is accountable, who is transparent, especially when it has to do with other people's money. It might be difficult. It is difficult. But what is not yours is not yours. It's not just yours. Keep it until the people come. I've heard a lot of people who were kept in trust of certain assets, and the owners went away and came back, and the way it was left was the way it was handed back to them. Huge strength of character. We must learn to develop that, cultivate it, and be consistent with it. One other thing that I think a lot of people have also missed is we have overlooked the part respect play. And when I say respect, I do not mean you have to call everybody uncle, auntie, daddy, brother. Absolutely not. Simple courtesy. Simple courtesy. Just learn to say hello, thank you, please. The magic words. Thank you, please, may I. Just learn how to approach people. It is important. Even when you're having a bad day, learn to control yourself. You must learn to control yourself. Once again, character is key. You must learn to respect people no matter who you are, no matter who they are. Whether they're the cleaner in your office, whether there's a security man at the gates in your office, everyone deserves respect. You must live your life on a certain path that when the opportunity comes, you would be ready. Everyone who hears you've gotten a particular or attained a particular milestone or an achievement, you'll be deemed worthy, and you'll be deemed, you know, to, that you're worth it. It is important. Not for anything. Posterity will judge each and every one down the line. History would always play itself out. When the time comes, how will your name be mentioned? How would you be described? when the time comes, we all have to return to our maker. What exactly are we going to, what account are we going to give of ourselves? We cannot keep living as if this whole world, we're going to make the money, and when we die, we'll still keep spending the money wherever we're going or where we will be. Absolutely not. So how many lives will you touch? Now, I'm still not talking about money, because you can touch people's lives without spending a dime. You can, with your time, with your compassion, with your kindness, with the way you talk to people, with the way you make people feel. Are you the salt? Are you the salt to the earth? It is important we're able to be deliberate. I've said it before, be deliberate in your actions. Always have your brain talking to your mind. What should I do here? What should I not do? So the whole essence of jumping in and acting quick. In my job, you're told to think fast. You're told to always speak off the cuff, is what we do as broadcasters. But at the end of the day, we also have moments we pull back, review what had been said, and quickly make amends. Because sometimes even the things you say off the cuff might not be it. Even a lot of times when you speak um, on your toes, you might not be saying the right things. So the next time you have an opportunity, would you be able to make amends? These are the reasons why we need to be still. Stillness and silence is also key in this journey. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Beautifully, beautifully. I think you've really encapsulated, um, the three key points stand out for me, what you've just said. And I thank you for actually speaking about character, speaking about respect, and then speaking about, how you, project yourself to others. I think those are the things that a lot of us forget in chasing, the dream, in chasing the goals. Is those things are the things that never, I would say, they never go out of fashion. So you really put it in a very beautiful way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bamidele, are you still there?
Yes, I am still here, and just for I just want to recognize the presence of the Nigerian Society of Engineers chairman, current chairman, Ikeja branch, in person of Engineer Tosin Ogumola, MNSE. Uh, he's online now, and probably he asked the question, but I'll give him the privilege of actually making his comment on the topic so far, as has been said. Engineer Gumola, are you there?
Thank you very much, Engineer Bamidele.
Okay, sir.
And deep appreciation to Madam Romelia for this session. Thank you so very much. I think we are glad to eventually have you. I think this was to happen a few weeks back.
Yes.
Yes, and I understand you were a bit under the weather, so we thank God for his mercies that here you are with us. So we sincerely appreciate your time that has actually gone into making preparations for this session and also delivering on it. And of course, we cannot, this topic cannot be overemphasized. The truth of the matter is, like, we all get to know the opportunities of so-called blue-collar jobs are reducing by the day. The truth of the matter is, okay, we are shunning out so many graduates, and population is increasing. The challenges for government, the challenges are also increasing on many fronts. So the onus is on us more and more to challenge ourselves to actually create, like I keep telling people, our universities should be focusing more on creating job creators than job seekers. And that is when we can actually, create a balance in the economy. So this topic is very apt, and it's really coming at the right time. The question I've put up, it's and then maybe before going to that question, I want to also appreciate everyone who has actually made out time to be here. Maybe two people for me, while I recognize every single person appreciating our time. I recognize the presence of one of our elders. I can see that he has been online since the start of the session. That is Engineer Ganiyu Owolabi, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Sincerely appreciate your time, sir. And of course, to Madam Madam Ayanda. Yes, really appreciate you, ma. I'm still appreciating what you did for us. Part of the training session that we had last week for our graduate members. So thank you all for what we are doing, and trust me, definitely in a few days, in a few weeks, in a few months and years to come, and we begin to see the results and outputs of efforts we are putting in actually giving people platforms to bring out the best in themselves. We'll begin to see those results, and we can pat ourselves on the back that yes, kudos to job well done. So thank you to every one of us. So Madam Romelia, the question is, in encouraging us and encouraging people to start up with their latent talent, I believe we cannot entirely dissociate people from what they have studied in school. And for some people, the work experience or the work experiences they've had, maybe over the past few years. So the question is, where do we have the meeting point? Where do we have the meeting point between your talent and your field of study or your work experience in starting up a business? How do you weave it all together? So, I mean, it becomes more feasible and realistic, and say, yes, this is an area, this is the meeting point, as it were, that I can actually bring together my latent talent and then the experiences I've had on the job or my field of study. Of course, I know to some people, going to school to study actually is more like giving you a leverage. But then there must still be a meeting point between the latent talent and what you have studied or the works that you have done. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a very funny response. Then I'll answer the question to the best of my knowledge. All right. Okay. Personally, I studied psychology at the university. But I've always had a passion for talking, asking. I mean, when it comes to asking questions, I'm just one. I would never say anything about myself, but I'll ask every question about you. So it wasn't surprising that I went on the path of where I found myself. But then again, I also have a business that is totally out of what I studied and what I do. I have a poultry farm. So it's neither here nor there. There are lots of people who are lucky, who very early on in life are able to, they know they want to be lawyers, are able to go to the law school, come out, have their chamber, and before you know it, they're into real estate because yes, you can do that as a sector in law. Some people are like that. Some people went to school and studied medicine and became doctors and probably have pharmaceutical companies or employed pharmacists to run because it's the line of their what they studied. There are other people who went to school probably to study Yoruba, studied Yoruba, and you come out, what will you become? A teacher? There are no teaching jobs. That is where sometimes you now start to look for those hidden talents that you have. Sometimes it is known to you. Sometimes in the course of trying a lot of things, one stands out as the one you're very good at, and then you hold on to it and you follow it through. There are some people who naturally are salespeople and probably will start to travel in and out, bringing things and start to sell because naturally that's their feat. That's what they can do. And there are other people who probably became engineers, became dentists, but there's just nowhere to go. And so where would they do? And this is where I will come to, you have to upskill. When we get to that road, that crossroad where we need to find what we have to do to now to earn a living, we now have to decide, what do we need to do? If you find someone or a business you are interested in, it'll be important to seek someone out who's been successful in that line of business and you understudy. Mentorship is key here. When I had to go into my poultry business, I did a mentorship programs with two different people at their various farms. Those were 2 years. And a lot of times my husband would say, it's because of the kind of person you are, you're very meticulous, you don't want to do anything. And I said to him at the time, one of the women I went to understudy had been in the business for 10 years. And while she was building her very first pen 10 years prior, she had made lots of mistakes. The very first pen she had to the fifth pen she had at the time I was understudying her were two different pens. If I were to go into the business, it would be totally foolhardy and very stupid of me to go to that first pen, which she started with. This is where you learn from other people's experiences. This is where you learn from other people's mistakes. And so I started from pen 5, which at the time was at least the current one and the most useful, if that's the word, for lack of a better word, at the time for the business. Seek out people who have been successful in the business and you find time to mentor. And this is where it gets very tricky. We're very impatient. We've become very impatient in this country. I don't know where all our patience have gone. And I understand we all want money, we want to do this, but we cannot, there are no shortcuts to success.
I think probably her network went off. Are you still there?
No shortcuts. Okay, right.
You
So
went
it is
off for a while.
important we seek out those people who we can mentor. Have I come back?
Yes, you're back.
Have I come back?
Yes.
Okay. Someone was trying to call into the Zoom meeting. All right. So I think that's the advice I will give. When you get to that point, that crossroad, quickly decide what you want and seek out the people who will mentor you. Uh, if it's for as little time as possible, depending on the time that you have. And then you find a training. I had to go to Faith Foundation, at least to learn the rudiments of business. Yes, it cost money, but I had to do it right. In being successful and doing it right, it will cost you a lot. If it's not going to cost you money, it will cost you time. It will cost you energy. You have to be able to at least let go and invest all of these things until we're ready to make investments, personal investments into what we're doing. We might not be successful. So decide very early on quickly where you're going, seek out whom to understudy, so you get great mentorship, get training as quickly as possible. You might not, there are people who will train you without you paying money. Seek them out, talk. Once you have your mouth, my mother would always say, if you have your mouth, you'll never be lost. All you need to do is, stop and say, please, this is where I'm going. I think I've missed my way. And you'll find someone who will direct you back on your track. So ask, can I please come check how you run your business? So at least I can model mine after yours. There are people who will listen to you. So it's important that we find those two things, people to understudy, get necessary training, hit the ground running.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So I think at this juncture we might invite just one or two people to chip in their comments or questions. It's 7:07 p.m. now, so we should be rounding up now. So we'll give room for one or two of the participants in this session just to chip in one or two things. So who is ready? We have Beatrice, we have Abiola, Israel. Israel, you actually unmuted your mic earlier. Do you have something to say? Israel. Lucy Mayowa. Okay. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me over there.
Loud and clear.
Yo, this is Israel speaking.
Okay.
I greet everyone. All protocols duly observed. I'm a millennial, so I would like to talk based on what we millennials are really passing through in this country, and based on the topic of seeking talent or looking inward to use our talents to better ourselves. I just have one or two things to say, and it's in form of question and agitation too. Because what is really happening right now, there's a change in tide with the society. And I feel the older generation do not really have the how do I put it, the better perspective towards what is really happening to this generation. My generation is a generation whereby only people that try to be professional or try to work in fields that are already established, like, let me say, medicine, accountancy, engineering, and all those kind of fields that do have much complaints to make this time around. If you are this person that you don't care how the money comes in, or you just want to make the money and you want to be successful, like success in terms of wealth and having money, people are now unprofessional about it and are seeking vices, and you will see them doing well. To clear what I'm saying, or to make good example, you see people into different type of fraudulent activities online, people into different type of, let me say, freelance activities online too. And they are making money, people into cryptocurrency, for instance. And, it all boils down back to the question we millennials are asking: does it still make sense to actually pursue your career goals or what you really intend for yourself that you really want to achieve? Or does it make sense to just try to source way or look for diverse of ways, which are many right now, to make money and become successful, as it were? So, and what is the future of this generation? If we all are looking for other means of making wealth and actually achieving things, because when people make this wealth through a source, they now channel it to another thing, maybe business or things like that, and you see them opening big stores. You can't really say this thing will not succeed. You will see them succeeding, while you that you say you want to pursue career are kind of finding it difficult, or not. It's like you're missing the point. So my question is, I mean, which is the way? Like, what's the future in all of this? Because it's kind of actually confusing and then questioning for people that are trying to make the right choice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Mr.
you.
Bamidele, is that for
Yes,
me?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Mr. Israel. Okay, I get you, and I do understand what you're saying. It's unfortunate how things have turned out. I do hope and I pray that the government are able to set their policies right, get it right, to be able to understand exactly what your generation needs. What we might need at this point is a group of people who understand what your generation need, and then can approach our leaders who seem to be in generations that a lot of us also do not understand. So we need a group of people who would bridge that gap. Until that is done, we need to understand that we cannot be lawless. I understand what has gone on with the cryptocurrency, with central bank saying they hadn't legalized cryptocurrency as a legal tender in Nigeria. But banks are using the back doors to invest people's money in cryptocurrency. So CBN has a huge problem with that. CBN had already given a directive to that effect. And that was why it was passed on to the Security Exchange Commission to only view cryptocurrency as assets, not as legal tender in Nigeria. So if those who are doing it, if the long hands of the law catches up with them, I guess they'll be the one to dance to the music. Those who you say go into unprofessional conduct, they won't go on forever. For every 10, for every 50, there will be one or two that will be caught. I come back to my point of this generation needs to be patient. I do understand your Generation Z. I understand you're fast and moving. I understand you want things to be done now, 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 now. But things are not done now, 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 now. Pregnancies don't come in one day and babies are born in one day. There is still a process. Mark Zuckerberg didn't become who he has become now, 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 now. Jeff Bezos didn't become who he became now, 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 now. Elon Musk didn't become now, now. So we need to stop all of the chasing, all of the fast forward movements we're on, and try to just stick with legality. Stick with what is lawful, stick with what is legal. That is the safest place for you to be now until the governments are able to sort themselves out, or until 2023, we're able to get people that will understand this generation better. But for my advice to every young man I talk to, stick with what is legal. There isn't ignorance in the eyes of the law. There is no ignorance. So if you think you want to come quote, oh, I didn't know, you would be read your riot act. It's as simple as that. So let's be very careful and be deliberate. So go to school, do your studies, come back, get a job. If you cannot get a job, seek people, family, friends who can invest in you, who understand you and who believe in you, and start small. There is still dignity in labor. There is still dignity in labor. Hard work still pay.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, Israel. I think the perspective, we can actually borrow some perspectives from some of us in the diaspora. So I would love to ask one of us that is currently based in Germany, Chigozie. Chigozie, are you online? Probably Chigozie can give us an insight, because I know Chigozie has seen he has seen fire and brimstone here in Nigeria as a millennial also, and how. Chigozie, are you online?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening.
Okay, good evening, Chigozie. I don't know what time is it in Germany there, but all I'll have to ask you now is that if you juxtapose the fire and brimstone you have seen in Nigeria before you went to Germany, and you spent some years in Germany now, in terms of talent and in terms of entrepreneurship, how can you compare the two?
Thank you for having me on this platform. And I really want to appreciate Madam Rumelia for her input so far. Honestly, she has really spoke, learned. But there's something I want to say here for our youths and for everybody here, that our government has failed us, our industries has failed us. In fact, everything in general, we have failed. And even our higher institutions have failed, because when you look at it from where we started and where we are today and where we are going, I can assure you that 90% of our graduates will keep failing. Why? Not that they are not intelligent, not that they are not hardworking, but can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes.
Not that they are not hardworking, not that they are not intelligent, but the problem is that the bridge of IT has been a major problem why our graduates will always go unemployed, even when they've graduated with first class, even when they are working, or even when they're out of employment. Now, what am I trying to say? One of those means, or one of those ways our graduates of today, or even those working, would always meet up is by going into IT. If you want to do business of your own, if you want to do anything, it must truly start with IT, because that is in fact a good number of courses, a good number of jobs here, job markets here in Germany, in the US, in the Australia are basically IT. That is to say, while you're schooling here, in all you do is basically IT. That is why, in the first place, when we come down to these places, we find it difficult to cope. Why? Because we don't have that background. Why? Because we don't have all it takes to, integrate into the society. So in my own opinion, what I want to say here is one of those ways we can go into entrepreneurship or we can encourage entrepreneurship is by going into IT, because the IT market is very, very open and they are looking for more graduates to fill in the international markets. So my own advice is for our graduates or those who are looking for a job, there's only one way we can all do this and fill in the gaps, because our government has failed us. And that way is to start now. While you're learning, while you are working, while you are unemployed, you must start up an IT course, either with certification or without certification, either in SAP, in Java, Python. They have thousands of them, and yearly they do upgrade in order to meet the international standard. And I can tell you, I have a good number of friends in Nigeria. You think they are Yahoo Yahoo? They are not Yahoo Yahoo guys. They are working for international companies here from Nigeria and making a very good money. Even I have a friend here in Nigeria, and also he just graduated. And as I'm talking to you, he's very, very good in Python. While he was in Nigeria, after he graduated, he learned Python, and then he moved down to Germany. And I can assure you that now that professors are looking up to him so that they can go into PhD courses. And even before going into PhD courses, he has already gotten jobs, not even in the energy system, but in data science. That is to say, they are looking for people all over the globe to work. So my advice for us this evening is we need to fall back. We just need to fall back. For the young lads who don't have the opportunity, if you have 1,000 naira, you can start with your monthly subscription, watch YouTubes, learn it on your own, improve, tax yourself in a particular field of IT. Forget about what you read. What you read in fact, that cannot even be your talent. So that's my input tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Chigozie, all the way from Germany. And it is 7:21 p.m. here in the city of Lagos. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Romelia Jerome. Thank you so very much for your input and for your time. We know that we've taken your time. For the participants also, thank you so very much for waiting till this time. So I don't know, maybe we'll have any last words from Madam Ayanda Moropane before we call it a day.
Actually, engineer, I would like to give Mr. Romelia the opportunity to say her final takeaways, as she's done this subject's justice. So just for us to hear that beautiful voice one last time, I can understand why she does voiceovers. Really, it's like music to my ears listening to her. So if we can give her the chance to give us her final takeaways, I would appreciate that. And thank you again for arranging such an amazing, very, inspiring session. Even myself, I was highly inspired. I appreciate you very much for doing this for us again.
Thank you. So up to her.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ayanda. Thank you for your compliments. And well, I don't know. Everyone, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I do hope I've had to change location. I've had to come plug my phone. It was running, the battery was low, running low. So thank you, everyone. Mr. Bamidele, thank you for the opportunity, for the privilege to do this. I do hope we'll do more of this. And I'm so sorry once again for what happened last week.
No,
but for whatever we do, at every point, let's not ever forget the God factor. There is always a higher being, bigger than us, greater than us, who would always at least help us to manage every situation. For every young Nigerian youth, this is not time to give up. This is the time to press for accountability. This is the time to press for transparency. This is the time to press for inclusion. It is your future. It is your life. It is the leaders who will be called 2-3 decades from now will be you. So until you set the tone for how you want to be related with, they wouldn't give you the opportunity. So press on, ask, demand. It is your right. You're a Nigerian citizen. You need to ask. Mr. Israel, please do not give up. Don't give up. As much as you can talk to as many people as you can, you need to let our young ones know that at the end of the day, Nigerians need to learn to be lawful. We need to learn to do things the right way. I'm a Nigerian, proudly Nigerian. I will forever be a Nigerian at heart. But yes, this country sometimes frustrates me, but I know that I have no other home but here. So it is important that we learn to do things the right way. The right way is the only way, is the truth and the life. And until we're all able to understand that as Nigerians, Nigeria can move forward. Mr. Israel, please go ahead and tell young ones that there is hope. We can do this. We can ask and we can press. And of course,
Yes, ma'am.
the
Thank you very
sky
much.
is our starting point. The sky is a starting point. Let's not ever give up. Let's not give up. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for spending about approximately 1 hour, 40 minutes of your time today. So, just if you'd like to get in touch with Mrs. Romelia Jerome, just send me an email. I'm going to put my email right now on the chat box that you can use to get in touch with me. Just send me an email on that email address. I put it in the chat box now for anything relating to if you want to have be a voiceover artist or a journalist and you want to get across to Mrs. Romelia, you can actually get in touch with me via that email address. So let's call it a day, and I wish all of us a lovely evening and a happy night rest. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Oh, yes. Abby, have I not left? I've left now.